Hey everybody, Zachary Jeans. Let's keep walking through the Bible. So today is day 77, and we are in the Gospel of Luke, chapter 10. We're going to finish up chapter 10 today. Having some coffee, getting my day going. I work nights, so this is my day start. Man, that's good coffee. Let's stop. Let's ask God for help. Lord, need your help. I know I've already taken some time to stop and ask you for that already. And God, I do pray that you will just help me see clearly what you're saying and help others see clearly what you're saying. God, please speak to me. And it's in your name I pray, Jesus. Amen. And thank you so much for the people, like, just hitting that like and share stuff. Whether you're on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, True Social, wherever you are. Thank you. And I appreciate the little comments from time to time I get. So, Luke chapter 10, verse 25. In that same, or rather, boy, I had it already and then I messed it up. Here we go. And behold, the lawyer stood up to put him to the test, saying, Teacher, what shall I do to inherit eternal life? He said to him, What is written in the law? How do you read it? And he answered, You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself. And Jesus said to him, You've answered correctly. Do this, and you will live. So he's being tested, and this isn't the end of the test. There's going to be another paragraph or two here. But people always want to test. It's a lot easier to criticize than it is to be constructive. So Jesus asked him, okay, look, you can ask me the question, but I want to ask you to give me context. I want you to set a foundation for this discussion. And he answers with the great commandment. First and second, that is. Lump them in together. And, you know, for me, you shall love the Lord your God and love your neighbor as yourself. When I was first at Bible college, after having done ministry for a few years, I went to Bible college at Multnomah. And man, so many swirling opinions about what the point of the Bible is, right? At a place that teaches the Bible. And that's good. But there was a lack of harmony, I think. And I was praying to God a lot about, God, like, I need some, you know, not 1,000 points of view to reflect back on 1,000 points of view during this, you know, next few years. I know I'm going to get the points of view, and that's great. I need to know, like, where do I pin that to? What do I tie that to? What do I lash that to? And the Lord, after I talked to the Lord a lot about this, and the Lord gave me two things. One, he gave me the two great commandments here. All my hermeneutical, you know, understanding of how to read the Bible, right? And all my theology, understanding of who God is, study of God, if it diverts from the clarity of the core commandments of that Jesus points out here with this lawyer, then we're going astray. Then I was going to go astray. And as far as a focal point, and I'll never forget this, I was mowing the lawn and I was really struggling with at the time what I thought should have been a more focused preparatory experience at a Bible college. I remember it was mowing the lawn. It was like 5:30 at night. It was dusk. It was the fall. I was talking to the Lord about it and mowing the lawn because I worked grounds crew. And I remember I heard the Lord. He's like, Zachary, focus on me first. Focus on, I want to make sure I get this right. Focus on me first. Focus on others next. Focus on your studies last. And that was completely antithetical to what I was doing. And so I did. I leaned into that. I made sure that I was worshiping the Lord first. Not just not even like I am now. Like, I would say I'm a far cry from my devotion then. But like a directed, love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, soul, strength, right? Then love others as you love yourself. All the study stuff, all the learning different ideas about how to read the Bible and, you know, neat quinky dinks that you find, and all of that's great. But if it's not tied, if it doesn't attend itself to the core truth of love the Lord your God, then we're getting astray. And I think that's kind of where Jesus is going with this. And he'll give you a practical example. He'll give me one. But this lawyer, right? He, desiring to justify himself, said to Jesus, well, and who is my neighbor? Jesus replied, a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho, and he fell among robbers, who stripped him and beat him and departed, leaving him half dead. Now by chance a priest was going down that road, and when he saw him, he passed on the other side. So I feel like that's me so many times driving through Portland at night when I'm driving left. And my job is to take people to and fro. I could literally stop 20 times a night. And I think this is where people struggle with this passage. I struggle with it. I don't know. Well, I do know. God will always bless and reward you and give you all the trials and tribulations that come with it to help people. So I could, if I wanted that reward and that hard life, stop every single time I see something that looks crazy. And there's a lot of crazy going on in where I live. But the priest just, you know, made sure he stepped over to the other side of the road, didn't want anything to get, you know, any chance of him being accused of any wrongdoing. He just slid on by. So likewise, a Levite who came to the place and saw him passed by on the other side. Again, somebody who also works, you know, by birthright of his tribe in regards to the temple. And he passed on by. But a Samaritan, as he journeyed, came to where he was, and when he saw him, he had compassion. So somebody who the Jewish people considered to be outcasts, religious outcasts, literally racially outcasts. The Samaritans held on to a chunk of the Bible at the time, but not all of it, because they were split up back in the day. And but so this one sees a man, presumably Jewish, right? And this person who's an outcast himself sees somebody who would otherwise probably look poorly upon him, is the nicest way I can put it. And yet he sees him and loves him, literally, physically, cares for him. He went to him, bound up his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he set him on his own animal and brought him to an inn and took care of him. And the next day he took out 2 denarii and gave it to the innkeeper. Take care of him, and whatever more you spend, I will repay you when I come back. Which of these 3 do you think proved to be a neighbor to the man who fell among the robbers? And the lawyer said, the one who showed him mercy. And Jesus said to him, you go and do likewise. Now, I know in my life, whenever I have abided in this truth, again, you get all the amazing blessings of being used by God to love somebody, to have compassion and mercy, to express the great commandments, to love others as you would love yourself. It is not love yourself and sometimes love others. It's an expression, you're a conduit, I'm a vessel for carrying God's mercy and love in this world. And when I allow myself by faith to be used that way, I get the opportunity to see God work, and there's incredible spiritual joy. Not only that, but amazing doors of life open up. And at the same time, anytime God acts through his kids, he also get pushback. Now, as they went on their way, Jesus entered a village, and a woman named Martha welcomed him into her house. And she had a sister called Mary, who sat at the Lord's feet and listened to his teaching. But Martha was distracted with much serving. And she went up to him and said, Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to serve all alone? Tell her then to help me. But the Lord answered her, Martha, Martha, you're so anxious and troubled about many things, but one thing is necessary. Mary has chosen the good portion, which shall not be taken away from her. So, it's interesting that Luke contrasts this example of serving, doing the right thing, good stuff, and does so against somebody who stopped and did good stuff. So it's like we get discernment here. Not all hustle and bustle and doing the right thing. And you know what? That's not fair. I even colored that statement by just implying that it was like, ha ha ha, hustle and bustle, this and that, right? So, okay, imagine somebody who loves the Lord, who's busting her rear end and doing all the things and getting caught up in the work of ministry and missing the word of ministry. So, is it wrong for Martha to do the work? No. Is it wrong for Mary to sit down for a bit and hear what the teacher's saying? No. They're both good, but they can also be both wrong in different contexts, right? I imagine if Mary was listening to an audio sermon and somebody was crying out for help outside her door, let's take away any possibility of her, facing any real harm by going out to help. But Mary's like, hey, no, I'm listening to my sermon. You know, I'm doing my devotions. Why won't that person who just got in a car accident, who's screaming and crying out for help, someone call 911? Why doesn't that person just, you know, tone it down a bit? I'm sitting at the Lord's feet, you know. They go over to the window and they look out and they're like, you know what? I'm going to shut the blinds. It's kind of distracting. So that would be kind of an example of the Samaritan, right? Mary being the Samaritan, not being the Samaritan, but rather being the priest of the Levite. But in the case of Martha, it's not wrong to serve the Lord and to work so hard that you got nothing left but God. Nothing wrong with that, except if the work becomes your God. If the checking off of boxes and the judging of yourself against others, like Martha did with Mary, then that's where people in ministry and in life generally go astray with God. And look who's on top of the world in their kingdom. It's the person who's checked more boxes than anybody else at church, who did all the things, who ran the ministry, and then lo and behold, what are all these people doing here? And that's fine for a bit. You can go listen to Pastor so-and-so teach, but, you know, why don't you do more in this and that? And the answer is because that person is caught up in the doing. The doing becomes their badge, their identity, and it's not Christ who is their identity. So do we suppose that Mary never got up and helped out ever? And all the times that they had people over and had teaching times in their house? Is that what we're supposing? No. And hopefully Martha got the message, and there are times when Martha let other people step in and do some of the doing. And she sat and heard the word that Jesus was teaching, right? So there's a lot of talk about self-care and shutting things down and making sure that you take care of yourself, and all that's important, you know, to the point. But when loving yourself goes beyond loving others or God, then it becomes a problem. Because you yourself then I become the focus of myself, not God, not loving others. And just like me going back to when I was at Bible college the first time, mowing the lawn at night, talking to God, struggling to understand, how am I going to do this? You know, because I was used to just living for Jesus and doing ministry and teaching Bible studies and talking to people about God all the time at a coffee shop, you know, loving that. And now he has me at this Bible college, and then I realized, well, oh, it's not like the studies are fine and important, but they aren't the doing, right? My Martha-ness isn't the point. The getting this grade and getting A's and all of this, that's not the point. That's not the primary point. It's an ancillary point. The primary point for me being there was to love God and share who he is with love to all these, you know, late teenage, early 20-somethings that I was around, who are just beginning to step out and experience their own faith outside of their family. And here I was, somebody who was a little bit older, who had just lived a fairly radical life of ministry for the last few years. And it was my ministry to continue that, but now instead of amongst a bunch of people who didn't know Jesus at a 24-hour coffee shop in Beaverton, to do it at a place that was a 24-hour Jesus shop over in the east side of Portland, right? A place where outside of a few shaken face here and there as they leave home and go to Bible college, you would say 99.9% of the people there, you know, grew up in the church and believed in Jesus. So I had to be careful not to become Martha there. And also not turn into a priest and Levite who would just walk past the trauma that's going on around me because I need me time. And I would say that's probably the thing that, you know, is really hard for me, because I know what my calling and mission is when I'm out on the road at night. It's to provide for my family and be a light in a dark place across the city that's desperately hurting. And most of my passengers, whether they have all the wealth in the world, and I do have people in my car that have as high net worth as you can imagine in the Oregon, Portland, Southwest Washington area. And then I have people that are talking about, do they have $16 left in their bank account, who are splitting an apartment out in Troutdale or East Portland, and they're coming back from Walmart with some groceries. They can't even afford a car. And then I'm taking those people, those different kinds of people, through a city that literally I could probably pull over every 5 to 10 minutes, maybe more, and deal with somebody who is literally at the end of their selves, emotionally, spiritually, maybe even physically. But I also know that that's also not what God's called me to primarily in work, right? So I need that discernment. So do you see how hard it is? I know you do. That's where I'm trying to be honest. That's where I wrestle with this. And I don't know where you wrestle with this. So anyway, these are the challenges, but thank God for discernment. And God, please give me discernment and give these people here discernment, and how to hear you and sit at your feet, and when to walk in your word, like Martha was trying to do, but probably got caught up in too much stuff. And God, help us to know when not stopping is okay, and when to stop is what we need to do. Lord, I love you. And God, please, for all of these, let you be the love of their life. Let them be used by you, God, to serve others. And let them make sure that they don't hate themselves, but make sure they love themselves like you do. And I lay all that at your feet, Jesus. Amen. All right. So, till tomorrow, day 78, keep walking. Whether you screw it up or not, keep walking. It's in your name I pray, Jesus. Amen. God bless you guys. Bye.